Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening and thank you for tuning in to a brand new episode of The Nation Wants to Know. I'm Deepti Sachdeva. We've seen a lot, remember, that has happened over the past many weeks, building up to what has happened in the last 24 hours. Remember, this is a story that has a lot of layers. This is a story not just limited to what has happened vis-a-vis the Hindenburg report that the entire opposition today is using to hit out at the Narendra Modi government. But if you just rewind to what has happened in the past few weeks, whether that is about what happened in Bangladesh with the exit of Hasina from there, the very fact that today, remember, she is still in India. We do not know what happens next vis-a-vis Hasina because the US has rejected her visa. There is no other country right now where there is any report of an asylum coming in through. And on the extreme right of our screens, you're looking at an image that has come in from Jammu and Kashmir. Multiple terror attacks that you have seen in Jammu. Now, Jammu, remember, is the new theater of terror. And for a long time, Jammu is a region that remained largely peaceful. In fact, we had uprooted militancy from Jammu in the year 2009. But why do you see a sudden uptick in what has happened in Jammu, the south of the Pir Panjal range, just in the last few weeks? If you just connect the dots, and that's exactly our attempt on the show, that's called The Nation Wants to Know. The Nation wants to know whether there is any connection. Remember, any connection in what has happened vis-a-vis the Hindenburg report. Also, what has happened in Bangladesh, the exit of Hasina, and apparently certain reports indicating that she is blaming the US, the United States of America, for her ouster, and the recent uptick in a lot of terror-related activities in Jammu and Kashmir. That is going to be our focus. The story is very important. The story is very significant because for a long time, remember, there has been this entire conversation that who hates a powerful India? Who hates a powerful and a growing country right now? And this is just not about Narendra Modi. Remember, the opposition is perhaps making that mistake. They want to say that everything is happening because, these are overtures meant for Narendra Modi. So they will tell you that when a Hindenburg report is coming out, it is happening because Narendra Modi is responsible for this. They will also say that in Bangladesh, Hasina, who remember has been the long-standing friend of India, when she is ousted, that's happening because of Narendra Modi. And all this is also happening when Narendra Modi himself, remember, had spoken about what has happened vis-a-vis Hindus in Bangladesh. They will also tell you about what is happening in Jammu and Kashmir is again because the Narendra Modi Sarkar has failed. Remember, it's good to ask questions of our polity. We must ask that, and we will also ask tough questions of the BJP. Let me just take a moment to, in fact, move now and to take you towards our map here. When you look at this map, you'll be able to understand why we believe that there is a larger plot vis-a-vis what's happening in not just in India, but across the entire Indian subcontinent. Now, this, ladies and gentlemen, is India for you. This is Bangladesh. If you look at it very closely, the only country that you have Bangladesh sharing its borders with is India. So whatever happens in Bangladesh will have a direct impact on what happens vis-a-vis India. Then on the other side is Pakistan. Remember, the LOC continues to be hot in spite of the fact that there is a ceasefire violation almost every second day. There are attempts of infiltration every second day. Our forces brave that almost every second day. There is still no let up. Then you have the entire Hindenburg story, the entire storm that has the entire opposition up against Narendra Modi. So is this fair? I want to do one little thing. When you see the entire map that we had gotten on the first instance, and we are looking at a larger international conspiracy at play. That is what the nation wants to know, whether there is an attempt right now to corner India from all sides. Because see, this is where you have Bangladesh. So if you destabilize Bangladesh, who gets affected? India. If you go towards Pakistan, when Pakistan and the deep state acts, who gets affected directly? It's India. Then you have the Hindenburg saga that again is, impacting India right now. The attempt, as the BJP says, was to ensure that the investors lose their money, but clearly that has not happened. Not very long ago, if you recall, just, go down to the Bay of Bengal. This is where in Sri Lanka also there was a lot of influx. So the situation now is far better. So if you look at everything that has happened vis-a-vis India, is there a larger ploy? Is Narendra Modi the target or is India the target? And is the opposition, at a good pedestal when they hit out at Narendra Modi? They make this all about their hatred towards Narendra Modi. But like I said, is this just about Modi or this is about the larger conspiracy? And let's not forget, the images that have come in from Bangladesh have shocked one and all, because this is the kind of atrocities that continue to be committed vis-a-vis the Hindus. The Prime Minister spoke about this, if you recall. And just within the next few hours, you have the Hindenburg report. So let's quickly make sense of what has happened so far as you look at the entire story, because the biggest news point, remember, that we are looking at this evening on the show, that's The Nation Wants to Know, is the entire issue about the Hindenburg report. So we look at what happened vis-a-vis the Hindenburg report. There are serious charges, and that is the reason why you have, whether it is the SEBI, whether it is the BJP here, or whether it is even the Adani group, they have all come forward with their statements. And they say that in spite of everything, our economy is strong. The country stands with SEBI right now. SEBI has also put forward an entire, detailed statement. But is this a hit job? Like a lot of you've been discussing, we have tons of reactions that have come in earlier today that will tell you why there is such a huge political slugfest on the entire story. And even as you look at these remarks, remember Rahul Gandhi spoke earlier, and Rahul Gandhi has hit back at the SEBI chief. She's Madhabi Buch, and the husband Dhaval Buch. And the allegation here is that the Congress alleges that it is Narendra Modi through Adani, through the SEBI, conglomerate, that has been fooling the Indian stock market. Tons of opposition reactions. Everyone has hit out at the government right now. And those, again, are stories that help you understand that what is happening when it comes to the big global geopolitical stage. Let's take a moment to first up listen into reactions that have come in, particularly from Rahul Gandhi, and the counter from BJP's Ravi Shankar Prasad on this entire saga. Rahul Gandhi says, and he's actually put out a detailed video saying that this is Narendra Modi behind all this. So is Rahul Gandhi also right now falling prey to perhaps a larger global play at work to target India, or there is merit in what he says? Ravi Shankar Prasad will also respond to that counter. First up, the face-off.
Over the last few years, larger and larger numbers of people have been investing in India's stock market. They invest their hard-earned, honestly earned savings in the stock market. And it is my duty as leader of the opposition to bring to your notice that there is a significant risk in the Indian stock market because the institution that governs the stock market is compromised.
In their pathological hatred against Narendra Modi ji, led by Mr. Rahul Gandhi and his friends, toolkit gangs, Congress party today has developed a hatred against India itself. अगर भारत का स्टॉक मार्केट गड़बड़ाएगा तो स्मॉल इन्वेस्टर्स परेशान होंगे कि नहीं?
This is an explosive allegation because it alleges that the umpire herself is compromised. The savings of millions of Indians, hard-earned, honestly earned savings, are at risk.
ये कांग्रेस ही हिंडनबर्ग के पीछे है और हिंडनबर्ग एक टूल किट है भारत को तबाह और बर्बाद करने वाले, और उसमें राहुल गांधी तमाम लोग लगे हुए हैं.
Why has Chairperson Madhabi Buch not resigned? Second, God forbid something were to go wrong and investors were to lose their money. Who is responsible? Is the Prime Minister of India responsible? Is Madhabi Buch responsible? Or is Mr. Adani responsible?
This is all trying to rattle and spook the stock market. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to create a panic in the stock market in advance. Actually, there is nothing. There is no new material against Adani. He is now attacking the regulator chairperson.
Where is the action taken on Gautam Adani? Where is the action taken on Mrs. Madhabi Buch? They want to take action against Rahul Gandhi because he's repeating the charges of Hindenburg. What kind of an era are we living in? Is this government? It's a joke.
Demand the immediate resignation of Madhabi Buch as chairperson of SEBI, and we demand that the Supreme Court reopen an investigation into this, and the Supreme Court appoint an SIT to look into this with no delay.
We have written letters, multiple letters as members of parliament to the SEBI chairperson, which went unanswered or even unacknowledged. Just goes to show the level of the method that has been used by the entire Modi government to safeguard the interests of one industrialist.
Parliament takes a view to constitute a JPC. This is a fitting issue on which JPC can be formed and is to be formed.
An inquiry that includes the Chief Justice, that includes the leader of opposition. Yes, that committee should investigate the entire Adani scam. Until then, the head of SEBI should step aside.
JPC से इसकी जांच कराओ, और तब मेरी एक नहीं सुनी गई, बल्कि उल्टा मोदी जी ने उठा के हमको जेल में भेज दिया.
So the opposition there trying to allege कि चौकीदार ही चोर है. That is the larger premise they are taking. Clearly, remember, when you look at the big picture, like I just decoded for you, we look at what's been happening vis-a-vis Bangladesh, because that again will explain to you that is there a larger pattern? Is there, a larger story moving behind how things have moved vis-a-vis India in the last few weeks? Now, when it comes to Hasina, she, remember, is a long-standing friend of India. Like I explained to you earlier, you have Bangladesh sharing a lot of land border with India. You also have the Teesta water rivers. It shares a language. There is a lot that goes common, and India is responsible for the creation of Bangladesh. So you've seen India really owning up that Bangladesh growth story. Now, Hasina has been in India for the last many days. Where she goes next, no one knows. Significantly, you have the United States of America cancelling her visa also. She also has been seeking asylum, but no news on that front. So India is waiting and watching what happens vis-a-vis Hasina. But has the story also become Hasina versus the US? Look at what she apparently has said. She has indicated again that there are foreign powers. Foreign powers, particularly the US's role in the ouster, is essentially what she has indicated time and again. She then has made a reference to how the United States wanted the St. Martin's Island in the Bay of Bengal. Now, this, remember, is an island that right now is under Bangladesh. The moment you have the US gaining control of that island, things could change. The US is looking at circling India then, as a lot of people will tell you in geopolitics, to be able to exert its influence. Hasina has also said we could have stayed in power had it ceded to the demands of that St. Martin Island made by the US. Hasina said no. And because she said no, she is then indicating that there was this larger protest that was being created. The attempts then started picking up pace to ensure that Hasina somehow is ousted. Now look at the entire timeline. I've just jotted down a few dates to help you understand how the story has moved. August the 5th is where you have the entire Bangladesh coup. That comes forward. Before that, there has been a lot of unrest. Between August 6 to 7, you see violence against Hindus in Bangladesh. Tons of these reports. Social media was flooded. On August the 8th is for the very first time you have the Prime Minister who posts about the Bangladeshi Hindus, and he says we must ensure their safety at all costs. August the 10th, is it a surprise that you have the Hindenburg, quote-unquote, the hit job stop? So clearly people say that is there a larger narrative that has been, built up as far as this story goes. And clearly when you look at everything that has happened so far, this will also tell you that there is an attempt right now to not just hit back at India and also to destabilize the country, as a lot of people have been saying. We'll introduce a panel of guests joining us on the broadcast in just a moment as we now move to also look at more details, remember, that have come in on the story so far. The entire day, you have seen the opposition up in arms. The opposition has been hitting back at Narendra Modi. And bar they say that Chaukidar chor hai. But then, why has the opposition not read the tea leaves, like they say? Right from what happens in Bangladesh, to remember what has happened vis-a-vis the Hindenburg saga, to what has happened in Jammu and Kashmir. Let me say good evening to Tom Varakkan, who's the BJP's national spokesperson, joining us. We also have Abhishek Banerjee, who's a noted columnist. He has some strong views, I'm told, on the entire issue. Ashok Sajjanharji is a former ambassador, and I think he is the sanest person that we have on the panel, because he'll help you understand that how do you read the tea leaves and why politics always is not the best way out. Also, Mr. Mecca, who represents the Congress, Tariq Khanji represents the Samajwadi Party, and S. Harish Mohammad Ibrahim is a political analyst. He's completing our panel. And before we get in our politicians, Ashok Sajjanharji, let's begin by asking you that is there merit in this argument that a lot of people today have been making and discussing? Is India under attack? Right from what has happened in Jammu and Kashmir, the new theatre moving to Jammu, then what you have in Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina right now sitting in India, we do not know what happens next, and the Hindenburg report. How do you read this, sir?
Thank you very much, Deepti, for having me on your show. Let me put it, in the perspective that I see it in. Number one, there is a report that has come from Hindenburg. Hindenburg is a discredited organization. It doesn't have any credibility whatsoever. There have been multiple cases that have been filed against it in the United States. So giving so much of importance as to the report that it has come out with. We also know in the Indian context, Deepti, that last time it had come out with a report on Adani's dealings.
Yes.
And all its attempts and all that report fell flat on its face. The attempt was basically to spook the Indian stock market. Nothing of that sort happened. Adani, in fact, is doing very well. I think the Indian stock market is very healthy. The Indian stock investors, they are very wise people. They have seen what is the reality on the ground. Now, this is, again, there are elements, as you have mentioned, there are elements outside the country. We know what George Soros had said some time ago, that he's going to invest $1 billion to ensure that Mr. Modi is removed from power. He might have tried his very best during the elections, but of course, all that has come to naught. Now, that is one side of the story. The other side is the domestic politics. As far as our political parties are concerned, and I don't spell out one or the other, as far as our political parties, the opposition are concerned, they will not leave any opportunity unutilized to hit back at the Narendra Modi government. Whether there is any factual merit to the case or there is no merit to the case. They think they are in the opposition, so they have to oppose. Irrespective of the fact that whatever they are doing, it might be to the ultimate disadvantage, and it might be deleterious and harmful as far as India's interests are concerned. India's stock market, might get unsteady as a result of the statements they are making. You know what Mr. Rahul Gandhi has also said, there are allegations. Have they made any assessment of that, whether there is any basis to those allegations? Is there any merit to those allegations? It reminds me of what Justin Trudeau had said as far as this killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar is concerned. He said there are credible allegations that India is involved in the killing. So once someone makes those allegations, is India supposed to accept them and acknowledge them? I think the same thing is being done by the Indian political party. They, by hook or by crook, they want to fire, they want to speak out against the Narendra Modi government. They have not done any homework. There is no basis on which they are making that someone should resign or the other is responsible. Not at all. I think on the basis of a report from a discredited organization, which has behind it elements who are known to be favoring destabilization of India, raising these allegations, that is, I don't think, doing service to the interests of the nation.
Okay.
Other aspects, other panelists who are there, and then we can discuss.
Okay,
I think
I'll just fix...
the India-Bangladesh relations, that is the golden period, Prime Minister Modi has been most supportive. I think if you look at the land boundary agreement, Deepti, which was passed by consensus by the parliament in 2014, no other government before that had been able to do that. So correct. India has been very supportive of Bangladesh, and to even suggest that Sheikh Hasina has been ousted because of Prime Minister Modi, I think it is displays total ignorance of what the real situation on the ground is. Deepti.
Okay, so I think what Ashok Sajjanhar has done, gentlemen, is that he's given you a very well-rounded view, completely apolitical. But this really tells you how India should be looking at the big picture. Now, Mr. Mecca, let's begin by asking you, then I'll get in Tariq and Harish also into the conversation. Before I get in Tom and Abhishek, both also on this. Mr. Mecca, do you see merit in what you just heard from Ashok Sajjanhar? You know, everything is not about Modi, everything is not about your domestic politics, but there is something about the country. So when it comes to the country's larger interest, why at the drop of almost everything, you people run to attack Narendra Modi? Does that work?
Okay. So Deepti, I heard very patiently so far, and the entire narrative is pushed down to the viewers. The narrative is, you asked me a simple question. Is everything about Modi? No, that's what you are doing. Everything is not about Modi. Come out of that illusion that everybody is conspiring against Modi, everybody hates Modi. I don't know, why do you think everybody hates Modi, or why does he deserve such hate? He's elected Prime Minister. We disagree with his policies. We disagree with the vision of his party. We disagree with the philosophy and vision of India, of their ideological mentors. We will fight them. That's the politics. Keep that aside. Now, you very nicely told about what is happening in Jammu Kashmir, what is happening in Bangladesh, what is happening in Sri Lanka, what is happening in Nepal, what is happening with Maldives, right? So you club all these things and you say, some forces are conspiring against India. The simple thing is, the Jadu Ka Chappi diplomacy has failed utterly, and to cover it up, the Prime Minister and his minions are coming up with these ridiculously laughable narratives. Second, in your intro, you were telling country stands with SEBI. Simple. There is an allegation. As simple as that. Let's inquire that, throw it off, move on. We need to instill confidence on our regulatory authorities. Instead, you say country stands with SEBI as if it's Vinesh Phogat.
Mr. Mecca, it's good to read politics into almost everything. I'll tell you why. Because see, what you are doing, you know what that infers to. You know, you hit at the domestic investor. You've seen how the stock markets today have surfaced. Now wait. Pull back for a moment. Let me also get in the first response then from Tom before I get both the opposition gentlemen also here. You know, Tom, all said and done, when you have serious questions of a conflict of interest that go out to the SEBI, should you also not say that, okay, let's have an open investigation? If the opposition says, let's have a JPC, why are you running away from a JPC? And why are you batting for the SEBI also?
Deepti, it's a very strange situation that Rahul Gandhi and his minions have led this country into. What he does not tell you, Deepti, is that in 5 months, Mr. Mecca, don't smile. I can understand your, this kind of attachment to Rahul Gandhi. What I need to put on record is Mr. Rahul Gandhi has made 47 lakhs in the last 5 months. And SEBI has been steady. There's been no complaints. SEBI has been acting on this Hindenburg. They have given them notice, and this is the retaliation that you have seen. But tell me something. If Rahul Gandhi can make 47 lakhs in 5 months with the SEBI in charge, Mr. Mecca, just step back and think that we have a fierce stock market, which cannot be, you create these waves of Hindenburg talking about Adani. What has happened today? Monday morning, what is the situation in the stock market? Nothing has happened. So this third time or fourth time failed Rahul Gandhi is wasting Soros's money, which has been invested, and Soros is hopping mad because he tried it during elections. He gave them funds. He did everything possible to dislodge this government, and it failed. And now this report that has come in is yet another failed attempt.
No,
So
but you know, Tom, I just want to disagree a little bit. See, everything, like I told Mr. Mecca, is not about Narendra Modi all the time. You know, you make this as if you question Narendra Modi, you question the government, you're questioning India. There is a difference between those two things.
Deepti, let me complete. The happenings in Bangladesh, the happenings in Jammu and Kashmir, the reactions of the India Alliance leader Farooq Abdullah, he blames the Indian army to have connections with the extremists. Now, what is this all about? This is not about Narendra Modi ji. This is about a direct attempt to destabilize our country.
No, then, Tom, you know, the other counter question that I will ask you, and maybe Abhishek can push that point a little further, what's happened in Kashmir and Jammu should, you know, concern all of us. Because as far as, you know, I remember, I think we rooted out militancy, Abhishek, in Jammu in particular in the year 2009. But of late, you have seen a spate in all these terror-related incidents that have come in south of the Pir Panjal. And the government cannot just tell us, listen, we have no responsibility. Someone needs to be accountable, Abhishek, even for that.
Yeah, I want to make a number of points on this issue. The first thing I would say, the good thing is that we have seen a certain maturing of the market. Last time, you see, when these charges came along, there was a panic in the market for a few weeks. I think there is some echo. Is there a hello? Yeah. Hello. Yeah. So
yes.
So last time when these charges came along, we saw there was some panic in the market for a while. But this time, as you can see, there was no panic because gradually the investor is realizing that just like you have infiltration along the LOC and, you know, they constantly try to bleed by 1,000 cuts, this is essentially the economic version of that. Now, I would actually disagree a little bit with the first panelist who said Hindenburg is a discredited organization. I would say they are not in the business of credit. These are, we are talking about Hindenburg Research as if it's some, you know, some Harvard or something, some big, these are bottom feeders out to make a quick buck by, you know, like laundering information here and there. These are like parts of the dirty tricks department. They have no credibility to begin with. These are the people, they just rake, mark, they make a quick buck here and there. So they have no credibility. Let's just be clear about that. Now, the point that I also want to make is that now the organizations that they are talking about, these are now so large, so international, that if you dig sufficiently into any given person, anywhere in the world, you can always make up some insinuation that, you know, so-and-so is linked to somebody else. And there are people who are saying that, you know, American investors will lose faith in our market. Actually, American investors would feel extremely at home if they hear of such charges. I actually challenge all the think tank people who are spreading this story on social media to give their list of donors. And I will point out one by one how many of them have received contracts from the U.S. military-industrial complex. Do people in India know that the Pentagon cannot account for $2 trillion?
Abhishek, because, you know, I'm looking at a more holistic picture, and the fact that whether it's the opposition right now that is erring, or even the government can, you know, to perhaps establish credibility and transparency, go in for a probe. Every time there is an allegation that goes out against the government, they say, oh, this is against national interest. This is against India. Is that a fair response? You know, Abhishek, take 10 seconds to say yes or no, and then we'll get in both Tariq and Harish also before I come back to all of you again. But is that a fair response? Make everything about, you know, questioning India when it is about questioning the government.
That is the point I'm trying to make. When we say probe, I mean, we are treating this as like some very significant incident has happened. No, this is some low-level muckraking guy. I mean, it's like every Bollywood actor, if, somebody said gossip, oh, you're in a relationship with so-and-so. Can you start saying that? You can't just react to everything. These are low-level muckrakers. That's what Hindenburg Research and so-called is. That's why they have this fake name, Hindenburg Research. No, they're not a research. They're just muckrakers and blackmailers of the lowest order. So let them be.
Okay. Now, Tariq Khanji, before I get Harish now to respond to this, where do you stand on all these issues? When it comes to what has happened vis-a-vis Kashmir, whether it's about what's happened vis-a-vis Hindenburg, the fact that the Prime Minister spoke about the Hindus, the atrocities committed against them in Bangladesh, and then the Congress actually said, we can wait. We can wait to talk about all this. Is that also a fair approach that the entire opposition takes, and what Tom just mentioned about Farooq Abdullah Sahab earlier?
Easiest way to explain anything or to say anything about anything happened in India is to say that there is an external force. Okay. What scenario you have created over here is this, that everything what is happening near about India is because of US or some other forces. Okay. I'll accept your point. Okay. Then tell me at least three, all the panelists, at least three suggestions to deal with. You are just telling that this is the problem. Okay, I'm accepting. Let us accept that.
No, the problem is, Tariq Khanji, the problem is that there is a lot of credibility for anything who says anything against Narendra Modi. But there is zero credibility for any Indian institution, for the Indian Prime Minister. You people don't believe anything.
We cannot have any type of discussion in isolation. It's a discussion in isolation. What I'm trying to say that you are saying that some external forces are behind this. Tell me the solution. I'm accepting that US are behind that.
To speak as one, at least. To speak at one. At least all of us can speak as one. There are leaders from the Congress party, the opposition that get quoted by Pakistan when Pakistan is defending its case vis-a-vis terror. I don't have to give you those examples. And that is the reason why, Mr. Mecca, when you cite history, it becomes a problem.
See, what do you mean speak in one language? Speak as one.
Speak as one. Speak as India.
No, 1 second. Speak as India. What does it mean? Everybody need to do Modi Modi? Is that what?
See, that's the problem, no.
Everybody need to do Modi
This exposes the hatred for Narendra Modi.
No. Not saying Modi Modi is not hatred.
No one is saying you need to say Modi Modi, no, Mr. Mecca. When you stand with our forces, that is not about Narendra Modi, that is about our forces. When you speak about internal security or external security, it's not about Modi. You people make it about Modi.
You are the people who are daily painting Congress and all opposition parties as some sort of anti-India forces.
No, wait, Mr. Mecca, see, to be fair, I don't believe in doing that. I give all of you equal time. Now, if Farooq Abdullah today is saying that the Indian army is to be blamed for everything that is happening in Jammu and Kashmir, even for drugs, it's not the media saying this. The media is reporting what has been said. So, can you pick up the phone line and speak to Abdullah Saab and say that this is not warranted? Let's speak as one when it comes to the country. Will you do that?
Correct. One second. See, when Farooq Abdullah speaks, as you said, the point is about whether you will condemn it or you will seek a clarification from him. Instead, you bring these are anti-India forces. Farooq Abdullah said this, Rahul Gandhi did that. All this entire opposition is anti-India. What kind of a narrative you are building? Do you think people are fools?
No, people are definitely not fools, Mr. Mecca. This election has told us that people are definitely not fools. Issues. See, if the ruling dispensation is wanting to, Harish, create a narrative, all of the opposition is also wanting to create a narrative. It's a battle of these narratives right now, Harish. And that's why when it comes to, the entire country standing like one, that is, I think, the narrative that we all must believe in. Question the government for all that you want, but stop criticizing the country. At least stand with the country when it comes to issues like, how to deal with the US, how to deal with Pakistan, how to deal with China. But I see all of you taking pot shots because there is that visceral hatred for Narendra Modi, Harish.
First of all, patriotism is the last resort for this scoundrel. And Mr. Narendra Modi is not India. Mr. Adani is not India. Right? And the narrative of setting up the international diplomacy which lies with Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and the internal Home Secretary issues with the Kashmir, and bringing down everything as a collaborative effort to attack Mr. Adani through the Hindenburg report is completely falsehood. And I want to categorically say that by 1992, when the Harshit Mehta scam was being exposed, then Finance Minister Mr. Chidambaram stepped down to make sure there is a fair inquiry. What holds here for the JPC to conduct? And if the SEBI chairperson is not guilty, let her step aside. Let her step aside and face the consequences. If she proves
that's a good point that you're making, and I think a valid point. Yes.
The government, let them.
Yes, Harish, because you've raised that point, let me quickly take it to Tom. Tom, why are you not ordering a JPC, and why should the SEBI chief not step aside pending an investigation? Isn't that a fair demand to make?
Investigation of what? She has come on record and saying and has said everything what she owns has been in public domain. Now, you want to prosecute that lady to please Rahul Gandhi? Because Rahul Gandhi says that she should be sacked. You go and sack the stock market. He made 47 lakhs in the stock market without that lady being sacked. And now he wants her sacked because the Hindenburg plot didn't work. And you want a JPC to spend the exchequer's money to investigate a low-grade research.
Tom, it's also about the credibility. You know, it's also about the credibility. Time and again, if there are allegations raised, okay, you respond to the opposition by saying we are open to a JPC. Like they say, ki doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani kar denge, Abhishek. Isn't that a fair demand, Abhishek, to make?
Yeah, so I want to make 3 points. One on Adani, one on patriotism, and one on Hindenburg. The first one is they keep talking about Adani. Please ask the India Alliance people why in Kerala they are all fighting with each other. CPIM and Congress is fighting about who will take credit for Adani's new deep sea port. Please ask them that. Second is on the issue of patriotism, because somebody said patriotism is the last refuge of the scoundrels. Very, very wise statement. Now, actually, these so-called short sellers, not Hindenburg, but a few years ago, just 2-3 years ago on GameStop, you know, young ordinary people in America, they came together and crushed these short sellers. And it's now called a short squeeze. And then these short sellers, not Hindenburg, they started screaming patriotism themselves. They said that, you know, ordinary Americans are anti-Americans and started calling them Russian disruptors. And the third point, and the most important point that I want to make on Hindenburg is, you go on Twitter, you enter the name of any big business, you will find some random guy making some random allegation. Hindenburg is basically that guy, just that he's an American, so he's getting much more attention. In a few days, I think in a few weeks, Indian stock market is slowly getting mature. Over the few years, people will learn that Hindenburg is just the same guy, just that he's an American.
Okay,
so stop taking him seriously.
Tariq Khanji quickly wants to respond. Harish, then I'm going to come to you.
Agora Advisory Private Limited is the name of the company. 99% shares belongs to the chairpersons of SEBI. And what question arises over here is this. Suppose there is a chairperson of RERA, regulatory authority that is for real estate. And he owns a real estate company. So there should be any type of problem. How come Agora Advisory Private Limited and 99% shares belong to that lady? So this ultimately comes to point that there should be an inquiry in that you yourself has become an investor as well as chairperson of the authority.
Okay, Tom, I know you want to respond. I'll give you the last word. Harish, quickly, you can complete your point. So no matter what, we will continue to see this showdown because the opposition says we want a JPC and the government says that the short seller itself has no credibility. So why are you citing this report?
No, beyond JPC, I want to make sure the Supreme Court should reopen the case because it was first, it was asked the SEBI to disclose certain facts which the SEBI disregarded. And now the SEBI chairperson is under radar. Let us make sure this SBI when we entire panelists, entire the Godi media has been battling for the electoral scam, defending the electoral scam. When it went to the Supreme Court, it been exposed that 60 to 70% of the entire electoral bonds has been awarded to the companies by which the IT raided through the BJP party.
Yes, you know,
so
Harish, it's fancy to call people names. It's fancy to call people names when it does not suit your agenda. Mr. Mecca will have the last laugh on this. But let me tell you, we are at Times Now have not just covered the story, we've presented the story, we've questioned all sides on it. You know, so it's a little unfair to pass those judgments. And do not forget that which are the parties. The Trinamool picked up a substantial amount through electoral bonds also. So there is hypocrisy, I think, in everything that we hear from all politicians. Tom, I'll just give you the closing 10 seconds. 10 seconds to Tom.
Deepti, I'm asking you only one question. As a private citizen, I can buy shares of any company. But when I come to a position of a particular position, I make my investments clear in public. I have nothing to do with the investments that I made 2 years back or 3 years back.
Tom, I want to know, why is the BJP batting for SEBI? Why is the BJP batting for the Adani Group? Why should you be doing that?
We are not batting for anybody. We are battling for the Indian economy, the stock market. Okay. When you try to rattle the stock market, you create an economic crisis in my country. It is that we are fighting for. Okay. It is neither SEBI we are fighting for, nor the Adanis.
All right, but like all of you said, ki janta hai, janta sab janti hai. People are not fools. Only for word of time, gentlemen, I'm thanking all of you for joining us. And I want to play out this quick reaction also that has come in from the Union Minister, Kiran Rijiju, who's slamming the Hindenburg. Listen into what he says.
आज भारत के खिलाफ जितने भी लोग हैं, देश के अंदर या देश के बाहर, कई ताकतें हैं जो भारत के विरोधी हैं और भारत के खिलाफ काम करते हैं। उनको पहचानना होगा और जो भारत का खिलाफ, भारत के उभरते हुए अर्धशक्ति, इंडिया का जो इकोनॉमिक पावर को नुकसान पहुंचाने के लिए जो लोग खेल रहे हैं, उसमें भारत के प्रमुख विपक्षी दल और साथ में कांग्रेस के साथ में कुछ लोग हैं। मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि कांग्रेस और उसके कुछ साथी देश को ही बर्बाद करना चाहते हैं। वो मोदी जी को तो नहीं गिरा पाया क्योंकि देश मोदी जी के साथ खड़ा है। भारत के लोग मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में आगे बढ़ना चाहते हैं। चुनाव हो गए हैं, मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में सरकार तीसरी बार बन गई है। अब चुनाव नहीं जीत पाए और भारत को नुकसान पहुंचाने के लिए भारत विरोधी ताकतों के साथ काम करके भारत को नुकसान पहुंचाना चाहते हैं। हम सब जानते हैं और ये कभी सफल नहीं कर पाएंगे क्योंकि
So who's attacking India? We'll continue to track that story much more. Time for us to head into a quick break now.